Hello, friends. Andrew here. Popcorn and whiskey, the face who runs the place. Yes, Friday night, and I am going live. Let me get this thing situated here. All right, get a couple of things happening. Got to come over here to the old Facebook, get this thing taken care of because it's all wonky. All right, there we go. All right. Okay, so I come back over here. All right, I don't want the captioning off on my Facebook page. Okay, come over here. At least, well, I guess I better see if I'm actually talking on this thing or not. Okay. All right, so here we go. Get the old whiskey going. Yes, it's actually in a brandy snifter tonight. All right. Because that's the first glass I pulled out. All right, let me see something here. The frame rate isn't too happy tonight. What's going on with let's see what my speeds are right now. Why the frame rate is a little low, why it's not the smoothest stream right now. Maybe because got the lights a little lower than usual. That could be it. Well, I know the download speed is going pretty good right now. So we'll see how the upload speed is in just a second, because the upload speed is what really counts when you do live streaming. The download speed's okay. And I have this cool T-Mobile thingy going on here, which I absolutely love, by the way, for my home internet. And download speed is 200, which is great. It's about 150 more than I need, which is great. Upload, it could be a little faster. Maybe that's the problem tonight. All right, just like the thing says, this is Popcorn and Whiskey. Yes, I usually do this on a Saturday night. Tomorrow night I may not be around, and here's why. And if I am, I'm going live at a different location. They have a thing. Okay, let me back up. Where I come from, my hometown, when we were high school, college, 16 to 25-year-oldish, the thing that we did, which was cool, is something we called cruising the bash. Now, Wabash Avenue is one of the main drags in the local town, the bigger city close by where I live. I live in a teeny tiny little town, and where Indiana State University is, basically. So there's Wabash Avenue, and this is, for all you kids watching and listening, this is way before internet, way before cell phones. I mean, being my buddies and I, we had CB radios in our car. Yeah, we like the CB radios. So what we did is our weekly hangout was Wabash Avenue. We would basically drive up and down Wabash Avenue. I don't even know how many miles it is. It's about 20 to 25 city blocks long. And it used to be wall-to-wall cars. And when you find some friends you wanted to hang out with, you just basically park in one of the parking lots of the different establishments, which were closed on a Friday and Saturday evenings. They were closed, and you go park and hang out. Or you just drive up and down. And there are dozens, if not hundreds, of couples who met on Wabash Avenue and end up getting married now, or have families and everything else. Well, over the years, the modern generation, I guess, decided they didn't want to leave the house and stayed inside and played video games and talk on their cell phones all night long instead of going out and actually meeting people. And over the years, Wabash Avenue was no longer a thing. You could still cruise the bash, but no one else did. It was not very popular to do. So last year, an organization, and I don't even know who it was, did something, and they're calling it Bring Back the Bash. So basically, it was a Saturday night where anybody that was anybody back in the day would go out and cruise the bash with all their fancy dancy new cars now. And of course, even if you didn't have a fancy dancy new car or a truck or a Jeep or motorcycles or what have you, you'd get it all spiffied up and and take it out, and that's what we did last year as well. That was the folks who went out there. I mean, it was a ball just to watch the nostalgia come back and all the cars going up and down, and it was so much fun. And there's all kinds of different vehicles, modern vehicles, older vehicles. People were honking and laughing and joking and high-fiving. It was just a ball to be there. I went up and down once and it took forever because there were so many cars, so I pulled into a parking lot with people I never knew before, never met before, and we had a ball just sitting there talking and watching the cars go by, and a lot of friends came through. I knew them, the other folks knew them. Other folks parked with me, and we just had a ball. Let's see. Lisa says it takes approximately 20 minutes to drive one direction. That's on a regular day. when it's wall-to-wall people, yeah, cruising the bash, it's going to be a lot longer. I promise you that. So anyway, that's what it was last year. So this year, I guess it's tomorrow, they're doing Bring Back the Bash 2. They're doing it again. So that's my streaming. Oh yeah, it's coming back. Okay, so it's all right. So the Wabash Avenue Cruising the Bash is going to be tomorrow night, and I'm planning on being there as of right now. So depending on how long I'm going to stay, because that's older folks now. We don't stay out as late as we did back when we were, in our early 20s. Usually 10, 11 o'clock is our bedtime. Back then, that's when it was just getting started. I mean, you would literally stay out there till 2, 3, 4 in the morning and drive up and down and talk to people and do different things. Now, was there bad stuff going on back then? I'm sure there was. And I'm proud to say I never partook in. I never got into that kind of stuff back then, believe it or not. One, I was petrified to have any kind of alcohol and get behind the wheel of a car, and I didn't do any kind of drugs. I still didn't do any kind of drugs, so there you go. Last year, I'm sure there was alcohol involved with some folks, but not like it used to be, because people were more, I guess, respectful of each other, and they were there more for the nostalgic purposes and not for showing off purpose. Well, I guess not, because people were showing off in a lot of the vehicles. There were a lot of nice vehicles last year. So yeah, people were showing off and being nostalgic at the same time. Okay. So, hey, if you're here, want to buy me a drink, and go to that andrewpoletto.com/drink. Go check it out. Buy me a drink, and we'll go from there. All right. Looking forward to it. So that's why I probably will not be on, at least not in this setting. I might go on live from Wabash Avenue just to show you what's going on, as I'm sure a gazillion other people will be at the time. So be ready for it. Oh, the whiskey's good tonight. There you go. So that's what's going on tomorrow night. All right. So like the topic for tonight was the future of my podcast and also Popcorn and Whiskey live stream. So up until now, Popcorn and Whiskey has been called Popcorn and Whiskey. It has been both a live stream, as you're seeing right now, and also a podcast. I do a podcast on the side of this, separate to this. You can find it at, I don't know if you can find it there or not. But you can go to YouTube and look at Popcorn and Whiskey, or even just type in my name and you'll find it over there for YouTube. But the actual audio podcast, it's on I host it on a place called callcast.co. But it's also on Apple Podcasts, I do believe Spotify and things of that sort, so you can find it there. But what I'm planning on doing is, because I'm wanting to, I guess, change directions a little bit with the actual podcast itself. And what by that, I mean, by changing directions, I mean, I'm going to, at least the plan is to be more of the, contemporary. Is that the right word I'm looking for? No, more metaphysical, more, not spiritual is not the right word, more mindsettiness, if that works. Get into that, because I have the fitness podcast, the Top Fitness Strategies. You can go over there and listen to that as well. I have a lot of great things going over there. Just go to topfitnessstrategies.com, and you can find out all different places it's listed there. And you can also find that on YouTube as well. Especially if you're over 50 years old, want to learn how to be look better, feel better, and gain confidence, that's the best place to go for it right there. And it's not just me. I interview a lot of folks, and we have a good time doing it. But the Popcorn and Whiskey podcast, I'm switching it. Then the Popcorn and Whiskey live stream is going to be staying. I plan on doing that a couple times a week. So the live stream will be staying in its current location. I'll be triple casting on YouTube, Facebook, and as of right now, Twitch. I might switch that up a little bit as well, but it will be definitely staying. But the other podcast, how do I want to phrase it? Like I said, it's more, I don't want to say motivationally, more spiritually is not the word I'm looking for. It's more happiness, if you will, more stuff that I want to talk about. A lot like the Popcorn and Whiskey, but with a different title. And the reason for it is right away when people see Popcorn and Whiskey, and I'm finding this out, and I knew it going into it. I just didn't think it was going to be this lopsided with it. I know a lot of people are wanting to. Look at that. Ooh. I haven't yawned at all tonight. And I get the mic starts, and there I go. Maybe because it's this. What was I saying? Oh yeah. It was polarizing, just geared toward whiskey drinkers, which is fine. I have no problem with that, but it's going to be more than that. So I'm trying to figure out a different name for it. A couple of names I came up with was the Andrew Poletto Experience, Andrew Poletto Podcast, the Poletto Podcast. See, I like the Andrew Poletto Experience, but when I take the acronym for it, it's TAPE, TAPE, and I don't like that. You can go the APE, the APE, and I don't like that either. If it was Sasquatch or Bigfoot, yeah, but ape, nah. Or the polar bear, something like that. And I got this inspiration from Terry James. I listened to the Lex and Terry show, the Lex and Terry radio network. It's a morning radio show, which is fantastic, by the way. But Terry has branched off, and he does podcasts. He's always done several podcasts. He used to do one called Terry James Alive, which was great. Hey, Andrew Poletto Alive? Nah. And then Terry branched off into different ones, and now he has a Terry James show, which is exactly what I'm wanting to do. And with the Terry James show, he talks about all the mindset stuff, all the life-changing happiness stuff that comes his way. Matter of fact, let me read to you what he has for his thingy. And it's exactly what I wanted to do, so I really can't copy him now. Terry James. There we go. The Terry James Show. All right, Terry James. I'm going to read you. All right, where is this about page? About. Real simple. This channel is dedicated to my ideas and a few dreams. It's kind of my stream of consciousness. That is where I honor the ideas by bringing them to life. Whatever happens after that is up to the universe. That is exactly and precisely what I've been wanting to do for the longest time, but I couldn't figure out to put it into words. And now Terry's doing it, so I don't want to copycat him. He does it very well, does a very good job with it. And I try to model. In the past, I've modeled quite a bit after him because I liked how he does everything. I mean, granted, he's been in the radio industry for 30 plus years, and his how he worded everything is exactly and precisely how I wanted to do it. So I can copy him directly, but I'm not going to. I have to come up with my own title. But his course of action, his direction he's going, that's how I want to do my podcast as well. But I also want to throw in maybe some movie reviews. I just noticed something. I got way too much headroom here when I lean back. And that's just not good framework. You know, when you study radio and television, you know a little bit about this stuff, and which I'll get into. That's another topic I want to get into is podcast and live streaming tech. And I don't claim to be the most intuitive guy when it comes to this stuff, because a lot of my stuff has been trial and error. But I'll get into that as well. So that's the direction of the podcast. So I'm asking you guys to help me out with the name of the podcast. I like to include my name in there, or maybe the Andrew Paletto Show, or the Drew Paletto Show, or the Andrew Show, or the somebody mentioned the Paletto Podcast. That could be it. The Andrew Cast? No. See, 'cause I also listened to and watched one called Timcast IRL, and I never knew what the IRL stand for. It says in real life IRL. I guess that's what the kids say nowadays. In real life IRL. So, if you're watching this right now or listening, thank you first of all. Let me know what you think about the titles: the Andrew Paletto Show, the Paletto Podcast, the Andrew Paletto Experience. Or maybe I shouldn't even use my name at all. Some of the ideas that I had, or some of the responses I got. Well, let me get to it, because I'm on a couple of podcast communities in the Meta world or Facebook world. All right, let's see my activity on this post. All right. So I asked the question about the names I came up with. Is I just read you what I wrote on the post. I'll tell you guys what I wrote here. I said, and this is for the podcasting community. This is a folks just for podcasters, a page just for podcasters. It says, since you all are fellow yeah, great. I'm a voiceover artist. Yeah, great. I can't even read. Since you all are fellow podcasters, I'm looking for some help. Let's see. I do a live stream called Popcorn and Whiskey. It's just a live show I did talking about anything I want. I also have a podcast with the same name. Here's the rub. People don't know it's a podcast from the title, which I knew from the start that might be an issue, but I ran with it anyway. Something is telling me to rebrand or retitle to something else, so I'm asking people on this page to maybe help out with the title. Some of the titles I'm working with are the Andrew Paletto Podcast, the Andrew Paletto Experience, the Andrew Paletto Project. I would like my name in it somewhere, not necessarily first and last name. So I'm asking for help. So here's what the responses I got. Come in here. Yeah, Donna, you're right. It does resonate with me, and that's what I'm getting at here. And I don't know if you heard my rant a little bit ago about the Terry James show, and what he's doing is exactly. I'll get back to that in a second. But what he's doing is exactly what I wanted to do, and I just couldn't put it into words, and he did. But anyway, so the podcast community, one person said just to add the word podcast to the end. All right, and somebody else says, where is your show that people don't know it's a podcast? Which people don't know it's a podcast? There's most likely more to this than merely the title. You should also never put podcast in your show title. Andrew Paletto as a title means even less to other people than popcorn and whiskey. All right. So one guy says add podcast to the end. Somebody else says don't use the word podcast. All right. Then somebody else, using podcast at the end of your title would obviously help. Also, unless you are a known celebrity, I would avoid using your name as it comes across a little vain or glorious. All right. And see, if you're looking for something that captures the essence of both popcorn and whiskey, perhaps you could explore titles like The Tasty Talk Show with Andrew Poletto or The Whiskey and Conversations with Andrew Poletto. All right, so that's what some of the responses I got over there. All right, Donna Marie, like you said, it depends on what resonates with me. And I said this a few minutes ago. A guy by the name of Terry James has a show called The Terry James Show. He went through several different iterations of the show over the years, and he's come to one, and he really likes it, and it really helps, and it's exactly what I wanted to do, or what I want to do. And this is his about title, how he put the about page on his YouTube. He says, "This channel I dedicate to my ideas and a few dreams. It's kind of my stream of consciousness. This is where I honor the ideas of bringing them to life. Whatever happens after that is up to the universe." And that is exactly what I wanted. So, do I copy Terry? And if I do, I'll absolutely. I have copied him in the past with different things that I have done because of the things that he did. I really, really liked. He had much better success than I did. I would assume because at the time he had much better equipment to do it with than I did, and I didn't know any better. And he still has a lot better equipment. He's been in the radio business for 30 plus years at the Lex and Terry show. As I mentioned before, you have to go back to what your mission statement is. Have no clue what my mission statement is. I have never understood mission statements. Ever in my business. It makes absolutely no sense to me. And I've never understood anybody's mission statements. This is even back going, when I first got out of college and people in college were talking about mission statements. Means nothing to me. I don't understand mission statements, and I don't get it when people put their mission statement somewhere. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. So if you can explain, oh man, there's a crack in my glass. Oh man. It's at the bottom, it's at the base. So there you go. I understand people put mission statements in there. I guess a mission statement is supposed to tell the folks what you want or what you're doing. But unless I'm totally missing the boat with it, which I probably am, mission statements, don't get it. And if that's supposed to be your one sentence about page, or a mission statement is supposed to be your elevator pitch, so to speak, all right, maybe I get it. But the mission statements mean nothing to me. Sorry, but they don't. If you want to come on live and talk about it, Donna Marie, we can. Matter of fact, I will put this on here. Let me get to it here. All right, here. Hold it a second here. All right, let's see here. Google Voice. I will put it up here in just a second. We want to call in. We can chit-chat about this. Okay. That's not it. Where's my Google Voice page? There we go. All right. So, tell you what. You want to call in? We can chit-chat about that. Hey, look, I can hear myself. Here's the call-in number. All right. Blah, 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 blah. Call the hotline. 765-505-7348. That's 765-505-7FIT, F-I-T. So if you want to call in, we can chit-chat about it, and we can go from there. If you do, great. If you don't, that's fine as well. I'll love anybody to call in and chit-chat and help me out a little bit here. What should I name my podcast? All right, here. Donna Marie, the person you referred to wrote his mission statement was, and that resonated with you. It does refer you to have been talking about. Okay, wait a second. The person you referred to wrote his mission statement was, and that resonated with you. it does refer to you have been talking about. Don't focus on the word so much and just start writing. All right, Donna Marie, you got to rewrite that. You got to rewrite that, make a little sense of it. Hi, Carmen. Hey, nice to meet you here again. Hey, again, I don't know if you ever came here before or not, but hey, welcome aboard. Popcorn and Whiskey. Yeah, we're talking about podcasts right now, if you're just joining us. And I am looking to put a different title for the Popcorn and Whiskey podcast. The Popcorn and Whiskey live stream will still stay when I do the live streams on the weekends. And possibly, Donna Marie, don't be sorry. It's fine. I understand you're tired. We're all tired. I've been mixing concrete all day. Believe me, I am beat at this point. Mixing concrete in 90-degree heat is not the way to spend a nice Friday afternoon. That's for certain. So, yeah, I understand the tiredness. No worries. No worries about it. So, there you go. Okay, stop that. Coming. So, Carmen, like I was saying, I'm trying to bring up a different name for the podcast. And like Donna Marie says, I have to go back and do what my mission statement is, which I don't understand mission statements. Makes no sense to me, as I said. Maybe I'm the only one on the planet who doesn't understand mission statements. It's never resonated with me at all, what a mission statement is. And, oh, gosh, I don't want to get into this. To talk about, you need to find your why. Why are you doing something? There's only one reason people get in business, and one reason only. And so far, no one's been able to show me otherwise. And this is not the time and the place to get into it, and maybe another time, but I'm not going to get into it now. And I don't want to open up that can of worms right now. I just don't feel like it, and I'm sure we'll get into some debates on this one as well, which is fine. I don't mind debating anything, as long as everybody's respectful of their positions and their sides. I'll be more than happy to debate anything. If I know something about it, I'll debate it. No problem. Again, as long as everybody's respectful, as long as everybody is in agreement that no ill will or no bad words will be exchanged, and as long as everybody knows that it's my show and I'm always right. Got that from Judge Judy. I'm the only opinion that counts. That's what Judge Judy says. Love me some Judge Judy. Absolutely. Boy, we need her sometime in the Congress and the Senate and up there, don't we? We need her to lay the law down and put those people in line sometimes. Absolutely, we do. So, Carmen, getting back to, I keep going off track, getting back to this. Yeah, so my podcast, just trying to find a different name for it besides Popcorn and Whiskey. Maybe Conversations with Andrew. Maybe it's Andrew, Let's Talk. That's a good one. It's Andrew, Let's Talk. Hey, I kind of like that. Hey, it's Andrew, Let's Talk. What do you want to talk about? There you go. I got that from Cody Rhodes. Yes, I'm a professional wrestling fan, so there you go. And, oh, man, that's another thing we can talk about, professional wrestling. So, all right. I don't know where my buddy Brenda is. She actually sent me a message earlier saying, hey, you going on live tonight? I wasn't planning on it, but I did just for her, and she's not even on here. So, Brenda, I'm going to yell at you when I see you, which may be another 10 years or so. She lives in the town I used to live in, and we used to hang out. So she's a good friend of mine, great gal, and fantastic. Has a fantastic voice as a singer as well, which I talked about that before. So anyway, so yeah, so different choices for the podcast. Different. I tell you what, if you're watching this or listening to this, put in the chat if you listen to podcasts, just which ones you listen to, just out of curiosity. I mean, no judgment on anybody's part. Like I said, I listen to Terry James, the Terry James Show. I'm a huge fan of the Lex and Terry Radio Network. I listen in podcast form. I don't listen to it live. I listen to it tape delayed, so to speak. So they actually record it and put it out in podcast form. So I listen to it that way. Love the Dan Bongino Show. So I listen to that religiously. Joe Pags, like Joe Pags. Let's see here. EK. Andrew here. Let's talk. You like that one? EK Spencer Lutz. How you doing, my friend? You were in an accident, weren't you? I hope you're doing all right. I hope you're feeling better. Okay, so Donna Marie's going to get us another try. Okay, the person you referred to wrote his mission statement, which has resonated with you. My advice is to write down the qualities you would like to have in yours. It is okay to write down some things he wrote. Just tweak it. The fact that you just did it and came up with something on the fly that resonated with you shows you can come up with something. Well, I know. I appreciate that, Donna Marie. I know I can. Yes, Essie, I know. I didn't know if you wanted people to know your name was Essie because you always use E.K. Spencer Lutz. That's why. All right. So, yeah, Donna Marie, I have no problem coming up with stuff on the fly. And so that's what the whole show is about, coming with stuff on the fly. So that's not the issue. The issue is something that sticks with me. I've had a lot of iterations of different shows and podcasts in the past. Let me see if I can remember them. I started off my broadcast career, if you will, way before podcasts were a thing. There was something called teleseminars, instant teleseminars. There was something called free conference call HD, where it was the same concept of this live streaming stuff, but two people would call in on a phone line and it would be recorded and you can put it out on MP3 on your websites. This was actually even before Facebook. Well, maybe, it was right at the beginning stages of Facebook. This is before Facebook was able to upload or do live streaming. Okay, SC goes with E.K. Spencer because of Facebook shut her down. So if you find E.K. Spencer Lutz, that's E space K space Spencer space Lutz. Go follow her. Go friend her. Tell her you're my friend. So that's my friend Essie. She's lives in the Tampa Clearwater area now. We met in Indianapolis, and she's a fantastic dancer as well. So yeah, I do all this artsy fartsy stuff. Dancer, singer, blah blah blah. I'm not good at any of them, mind you, but I do them. But I don't like artsy fartsy stuff. I got to tell you this quick story. So when I lived in Florida, I was searching for a job. I went there in the mortgage craze. If anybody remembers the mortgage craze in the 2006, 2007, 2008, the mortgages were going like this in early 2000. All of a sudden, they took off like this, and all at once they bottomed out. I mean, if you were in a mortgage business, you were basically screwed at that point, unless you were owned a company or very ingrained in the industry. I wasn't, because I just moved locations. So I moved from Indiana to Florida for a bank, and they opened up new mortgage divisions, and I was the last one in. Well, guess what? They decided to close their mortgage division because the mortgage basically fell out of everything. So since they closed the mortgage division, who was the first one I let go? Me. Yeah, so last one in, first one out type thing. All right. So I had mortgage plastered all over my resume. No one would touch me. I applied for a job at a cruise line. I don't remember which cruise line it was. But I went through a couple of video interviews. This was, just at the beginning stages of Facebook, so 2008, 2009-ish, something like that. And I don't even know if it was Zoom at the time, but it was some sort of video type interview things. I barely had internet connection, so how I got through at that point is beyond me, but I did. And so the interviews went great. And how it worked, how it ended up being is if they hired you for the job, this is to work on a cruise line as a salesman for art. You know, the art that they sell on the cruises, that was your job. Now, you went through the first video interview, and then you go through a second video interview, then a third one. After a second one, they send you a bunch of stuff to evaluate to see if this is something you want to do or not. Then they give you a third interview. If on that third interview, and I remember this vividly because I was talking with my mother about it the other day. If on the third one, they like you and they offer you a position on the cruise line, you have to leave the next day to go to Miami to get on the next cruise that they have. And you can be at sea for anywhere from 3 months to a year. Depend on the cruise line, and how good you were at your job. I have no problem talking to people. Had no problem basically talking up art. Once again, I was in the artsy-fartsy thing. I was a singer, I was a dancer, blah, blah, blah. So they gave me a file full of art stuff to look at and my evaluation of all this stuff. All these pictures, drawings, paintings. Must have been a couple hundred of them. I started looking through this stuff, and excuse my language here, I'm like, what the fuck is this stuff? I'm like, holy crap. I didn't understand it. I didn't know what they were referring to. My dad looked at a couple of them. It was when he was still living. God bless the dead. He looked at a couple of pictures. He says, it looks like a couple of elephants screwing. What are you trying to sell? A picture of elephants screwing? This is like a hand-drawn puppet thing or something. I don't remember what it was. And that did it for me right there. I said, you know what, Dad? You're exactly right. I have no idea what this is about. Even though I know I could sell this stuff, talk it up, it would be a shell of what I wanted to do because I would be miserable every day trying to be a salesman for stuff I didn't understand. So I decided not to take it just for that. So, and I don't know what brought that up. I guess the artsy-fartsy thing. But so I didn't understand that. There's also a place in south of Inglewood, south of Port Charlotte, south of Punta Gorda. It's called Matlacha. It's a artsy-fartsy town. That's why I call it artsy-fartsy town. It has all kinds of little art shops, whether it's painting, sculptures, ceramics, all kinds of art stuff. And this place got devastated with the hurricane last year. It got devastated. But anyway, so I went there with a friend of mine who also didn't understand artsy-fartsy stuff. But we had a mutual friend who was a painter. She painted some good stuff, some nice stuff. So she told us she had a display over at this one particular shop. So me and my other friend, Caroline, went over there with the whole idea of talking our friend, her name was Melody, talking our friend up. We went in there pretending to be a couple. We did this quite a bit. It was so much fun how we did it. And pretending to be a couple looking for paintings for our home. Our brand new home we bought. We had a story made up in case people will ask us or in case a salesman asked us. So we had a story made up. I should get Caroline on sometime. We had a ball doing this stuff. And so we went to this place, and our friend Melody, all her pictures were stored in the back of this art gallery. I mean, in the very back. So where they're specifically looking for her stuff, we didn't understand any of the art. I mean, when you put a painting for $3,000 or $4,000, I'm like, I'm not paying for that. I don't understand that. I don't understand like the Rembrandts and stuff like that. Not that this store had Rembrandts, but you get the idea. Why somebody would pay that much for a Rembrandt is beyond me, but they do, and it's just not my bag, not my style, okay? So Caroline and I found our friend's paintings in the back of the art gallery. We're commenting on all kinds of different things, walking around as we're trying to find this because we want to pretend like we're sophisticated. You know, our friend gave us some tips what to look for and what to say to make sure that the art gallery knew No, first of all, our friend didn't know we were doing this, but talking with her, we picked up on different buzzwords in the industry at the time. So we find her stuff in the back of the store. We start talking it up. I mean, wow, this is great, blah, blah, blah. Look at the lines, the sculpture, the essence of how the light portrays this, blah, 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 blah. And you can tell the art person's there, just couldn't believe that we were just in awe of this particular artist. She's in awe. Wow, this is great, fantastic. We said, well, we have to go measure everything out at our place and see what we can put up there and how many of these units we can get and blah, blah, blah. Again, no desire to buy anything, none whatsoever. We just went there and had a great time doing this. The following week, our friend Melody goes down there to check on everything. All her stuff got put from the back in the front display. Got put in the front display just from that. So, I don't know whatever happened to Melody. Last I heard, she was living in some sort of yurt type thing down in Inglewood. I don't know if she's still there. Caroline's in Tennessee. I said I should call her and get her on here sometime because we had a ball doing stuff like that. It was funny. So, but that's the extent of my art understanding. All right. So if that makes any sense. So there you go. That's the I don't even know how I got on that tangent. I guess because I said it's your fault, Essie. It's your fault. That's why I say you start talking about dancing. There we go. Matter of fact, I was supposed to go to a dance. I wasn't supposed to. My plan was to go to a dance tonight in Indianapolis. Because Essie, you know, can't think of her name, but we know all the same dancers in Indianapolis. But she has Any Swing Goes. Charlotte. Yeah, Charlotte. Any Swing Goes. I guess the first Friday of every month she has one. She has two different locations. She has one on the first Friday, one on the second or third Friday. I was going to go and surprise everybody tonight. But because after mixing concrete all day, I'm like, last thing I want to do is drive an hour and a half, 2 hours to go to a dance with folks I don't even know anymore, and then drive back afterwards. Ugh. So, because the dance gets over at 11, so I'd still be there right now. Well, I probably would have left by now. But I'd be on the road until midnight. 12:30. I'm like, nah. It's just easier to sit here and drink a little bit, isn't it? Maybe one of these days I'll go over there and do it again. I've forgotten how to dance. So anyway, getting back to the podcast, yeah, I skip around a little bit. If you watch this live stream, you know what I'm doing, or you don't know what I'm doing. That's how I do things. Skip around a little bit. Let me turn this down so you can see it over here. Okay, so. Let's see here. What were we going here? So Donna Marie, I appreciate everything you're saying. I get it. I need to find it out myself. I understand that. So the Andrew here, let's talk. I'm really digging that one. I got to write that down. Andrew here. I could hope I read my writing later. Let's talk. Or let's chit-chat. I used to say chit-chat all the time. I say, stop by sometime. Let's chit-chat. When I was a bartender back in the 90s. That's when I met Ellie when I was a bartender. Essie. When I met Essie when I was a bartender back in the 90s when I started dancing, late 90s, early 2000s. And I tell people, stop in the bar. Let's chit-chat. Let's chit-chat. That was my thing. Let's chit-chat. So people would stop in the bar and we'd have a good time doing that. So. Anyway, Donna Marie, I appreciate everything. That was fantastic. I'm glad you trying to set me straight here. I get it. Maybe I'm just too dense to understand it all. Yes, Charlotte Heine, great friend. I'll be coming back sometime to live in India. What, Essie? You're moving back to Indiana? No, don't move back to Indiana. I'm telling you, stay in Florida. Oh man. Yeah, maybe go to a different part of Florida. Cause I wouldn't live in Tampa. I'll tell you where I wouldn't live is on the east coast of Florida. Holy moly. Speaking of Florida, I lived in Wellington, when I first moved to Florida. I was telling about somebody this story the other day. Moved to Wellington, which is, and I didn't know this at the time, I knew this after I was there, the polo capital of the world. And try Wellington, Florida is the polo capital of the world. And there's a polo season. Didn't know that either. What little time I spent there, I was not there during the polo season. But this is, like I said, I moved down to Florida and I was working for a bank. One of the ladies at the bank, her and her husband was nice enough on a Saturday to take me around and show me the sights of the city and different things. We're driving around. This was wild. We go by this subdivision. You see these great big houses. I mean, beautiful houses. Back of the house, huge, very nicely manicured grass field. Huge. A line of houses. On the other side, a line of houses. Maybe there's 50 to 100 yards of open field between the houses. And these houses had great big garages. I mean, with the garage door of 20, 30 feet wide, 40 feet wide, huge garage doors. Tall, wide. I'm looking at this. I'm like, what in the world's going on there? All these people have RVs? And they looked at the couple looks at me and they said, "You don't know, do you?" I said, "No, I know. I don't know what." They said, "All those houses have their own airplanes, and that field between the houses are the runways." Like, are you freaking kidding me? And you can look on Google Earth now. You can find them all. It's wild. Chit chat with Andrew. There you go, Donna Marie. We could possibly do that one. So I'm seeing now. I'm narrowing it down. I like these. Andrew here. Let's talk. Chit chat with Andrew. I'm writing that one down too. Chit chat with Andrew. Okay. All right. So we see these huge houses, and again, they tell me about the airplanes. Like, wow, that's wild. So then, I guess I don't need these. No one called me, so I don't need these anymore. As we're going through the city, all of a sudden we come to these immaculate-looking houses. I mean, not a blade of grass out of place. They got pillars in the front of their houses. Beautiful places. I said, wow, look at these houses. They said, those aren't houses. Like, what do you mean they're not houses? Those are horse stables. Like, are you freaking nuts? I mean, these were horse stables, and they were pointing out different celebrities. This is such and such. I remember they pointed out one. This is, it's lost his name. Tommy Lee Jones, the actor Tommy Lee Jones. He goes, he owns this stable and has several horses in there. So Tommy Lee Jones, he comes here half the year. During polo season, he's here. I was like, holy moly. I mean, you talk about money in this town. John, hey, buddy. Hey, how you doing? We're just brew with Drew. I understand that, but I'm getting away from the brew stuff. On weekends, the live stream is still going to be popcorn and whiskey. But the podcast itself is not going to be, I don't want it to be, subconsciously people think it's all about whiskey or popcorn, because that's not what it's all about. Now, will we talk about it? Sure, absolutely. But I like to brew with Drew. I like that. There's one YouTube page that I follow. It's called Still It. STIL space IT. Still It. It's great. I guess he's based in Australia or New Zealand. The guy's brilliant with his brewing and everything else. I love that channel. So anyway, getting back to Wellington, and let's see. That's cool. Yeah, Still It's cool. And so Wellington is like I said, the polo capital of the world, and it's very, very, very high, hoity-toity, if you will. Big time money in Wellington. Big time money in Wellington. And Wellington is right next to West Palm Beach, which is, if you don't know, it's West Palm Beach is north of Fort Lauderdale, which is north of Miami. If you don't know the geography over there, which I just, if you live there, you assume people know, but if you don't, you got to assume they don't. So I'm there. to get there in September, leave there in January. So I was there for 4 months. I actually met 3 folks that I fell in love with. We were basically inseparable. There's a couple and another young lady, a friend of theirs, not in a romantic way, but we were inseparable. They were dancers as well. And they started to dance over in the West Palm Beach area, and we became best of friends. I mean, we're talking like all-time life, best of buddies, friends, and everything else. And we had a great time. We would spend usually Friday nights at their place. We didn't like to go out to restaurants, so we cook and we drank. We literally would sit at their kitchen table. I'd get there 6, 7 o'clock. Other people would be there as well. Sometimes it was just us 4, sometimes other folks. And I wouldn't leave till 1, 2 in the morning. And we wouldn't leave the kitchen table. Literally, we would not leave the kitchen table. We all bring different drinks, of course, and we'd cook something, and we just nibble and eat. And on Saturday nights, we usually went out dancing somewhere. They were both dance instructors as well. So we had a ball. And then when I got transferred from my job to the other side of the state, it was literally what, you're leaving? You can't leave. I mean, all 4 of us were in tears because I was leaving because we had so much fun together. But, life happens and you move on. But if it wasn't for those 3 other folks, I hated that part of the state. Holy moly, did I hate that part of the state. Talk about rude. Now, this is just my philosophy. I don't get this from anybody else. If you're driving south down to Florida, you got 2 basic main routes. You got I-95, which basically goes along the East Coast, I-75, which starts in Ohio and comes down through Tennessee, Kentucky, Georgia, stuff like that. I-95 starts somewhere up in Jersey or something like that, but comes down the whole coast and comes down to the East Coast of Florida. So my philosophy was the East Coast of Florida, especially when you get down to West Palm Beach, Boca, Lauderdale, Miami, it's more of the Northeast influence. And if you've ever lived in different parts of the country, you understand that Northeast is extremely rude people, especially if you come from Tennessee and Georgia, or especially Tennessee is very, 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 very polite. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes, sir. No, sir. Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, stuff like that. Iowa, stuff like that. I don't want to say Illinois. I don't like Illinois. Just because of Chicago. Don't get me started with that one either. But so that influence is more on the west part of the state. I am literally, and this is 100% accurate, this is before people had cell phones and was able to look at cell phones and look for everything. I'm at a Starbucks in Boca Raton, Florida. I kid you not with this story. And this told me all I wanted to tell you. It's a Saturday morning. I'm driving around just looking for different places. See, then John says, then they say you don't like Chicago. Some good people in Paris, Danville, and Champaign. I'm not saying there's not good people there. I wouldn't want to live in Illinois just for the taxes itself. No way would I. I don't even want to work in Illinois just for that. And as you know where I live, I go 3 miles that way. I'm in Illinois. So I don't want to work in Illinois just for the tax purposes. So enough of that. So I'm at Boca Raton. At a true, yep. So John says, yep, true. So I'm at Boca Raton's at a Starbucks. There's a line of 10 people. I will go to Starbucks now. This is when the Starbucks was up and coming and I was dumb for going there. I have a newspaper, looking at the newspaper, just reading the newspaper. Nothing, I'm not intrigued or enthralled or anything, just flipping through the newspaper. The line in front of me, they move up one person. There's still a good 5 people in front of me. They move up one person. I don't move because I'm reading the paper. The person behind me literally taps me on the shoulder, says, excuse me. I turn around and said, yes. He goes, you need to move up. I said, excuse me? He goes, you need to move up. The line moved. You need to move up. I look at the person, I'm like, I wanted to say, are you effing kidding me? But I didn't. I moved the one step up because, you know, it was so imperative to this person that we move one step up, for crying out loud. So, yeah, Boca Raton. It was extremely rude. And I found out throughout the places over on that side of the state. I moved to the other side of the state in Inglewood. You literally have people who walk up and down the street, will say good morning and say hello to you. In Boca, you say hello to somebody, they'll say, hey, what the F do you want? And I kid you not. So, because I had that experience as well. Had an experience in Cleveland as well. Yeah, there's certain places that, and I grew to love Cleveland. I have some great friends in Cleveland. My college roommate still lives in Cleveland. And if you're ever in Cleveland, have you hook up with him. He's an insurance agent, does great stuff up there. So, but I have some great friends in Ohio, different places as well. Florida, yeah, I'd go back to it. On my side, my side, the Inglewood side of the state, the west side of the state. So when essay, you say you're in Clearwater. It's getting a little too crowded up there for me. Inglewood, it was getting a little too crowded as well, but it was okay for me. I understood Inglewood. Different places in Florida, and this is really, 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 really unique. I would assume most states are like this, but I had the, I guess, privilege of experiencing different places in Florida. For instance, I lived in West Palm Beach, as I said, lived in Inglewood, two completely different cultures there, so to speak. I lived in Maitland, Florida, which is just outside of Orlando, for a little bit, a few months, I should say. I also lived in Jacksonville for a few months, job purposes, and don't get me started with that one either. But between Wellington or West Palm Beach, Inglewood, Maitland, Orlando, and Jacksonville, you're like four completely different countries. Completely different countries. And the only way I know how to explain this is the rules, R-U-L-E-S, the rules are different in each place. I can't explain it any different than that. And John, you probably know this going from Indiana and moving down to Texas. I'm not saying it's better or worse, and that's a personal preference, but the rules are different. Essie, I know you experienced it. I know you experienced that rules thing was different. I experienced it first when from Clinton to Indianapolis, not so much. Indianapolis to Cleveland, holy moly, was there a big difference. Not so much in the size of the city, but in the attitude people had. Holy moly, was a big difference. I thought it was just me. And here's the story. Like I said, my college roommate was from Cleveland. We were roommates for 2 years, but friends for 3. Let's see. Clearwater, most dancing was recommended by a dance instructor who taught all over Florida. Clinton to Philadelphia. Holy crap, yeah. So, Essie, I'm curious. You got to tell me who the instructor was. I know several instructors up there. At least I knew them. So we'll see if you know anybody up there as well. But so I moved to Florida, hooked up with my old college roommate. I hadn't seen him for 10 years at the time, 15 years maybe. And just by chance, at the time, this is right before email or before any social media, before any of that, but people had emails. My college had a directory, if you will, like the 100-year directory, and they listed everybody that they could find who had emails at the time. And if you want to be in that directory, great. So I bought a directory, and lo and behold, my college roommate's wife, who also went to school there, that's how they met, her email was in there. And so I sent her an email and said, hey, if this is you, this is me, blah, blah, blah. She sent me an email back. We started communicating, and just by chance, the company I worked for needed me to move to Cleveland. I accepted a position, moved up there, and we hooked up again and started going out. John Henny, I know John. Absolutely, I know John. Yeah. Tell him I said hello. He might not even remember me. Know so many people. Tell John I said hi. Essie. So my roommate and his wife, so we're talking, she's from small town Indiana up north around Rensselaer or Remington area. So she asked me, she goes, what do you find the most different between Indiana, where you come from, and here? I said, how rude people are. I said, it's without question how rude people are. She looks at my roommate. She goes, I told you, it's just not me. People up here are rude. He couldn't believe it. I said, yes, they are, by far. Oh, my God. It was so funny when she said that to him. Let's see. Essie, he saw me in Gatlinburg dancing, said, you need to come to Clearwater area. He passed? I did not know that. Oh, God bless the dead. Sorry about that. I did not realize that. Wow. There's several other instructors up there I knew. Gosh darn it. Top of my head, I can't think of any. But anyway, talking 3 different conversations here. Hey, Felicia. Did you ever get to look at that video? You never called me back, for crying out loud, Felicia. So there you go. Anyway, so Cleveland was extremely rude, what I'm used to. Like John, you said you moved from Clinton to Philadelphia. I bet that was a major culture shock. I can just imagine how that was. Wow, because I had a girlfriend when I lived in Florida. She was from Philadelphia. She actually came back to Clinton with me once, spent a couple of days in Clinton. She couldn't believe it. People actually live like we do in Clinton. We went driving around. This was in the fall. So we went driving around, I guess not fall, maybe September-ish. I guess it would be the fall. And we went driving around. Yeah, Felicia, you're sorry. Yeah. Let's talk over the weekend if we can. Okay. So my girlfriend and I went driving around here in Clinton. And John, you know this. You've seen this before. And I can't speak for anybody else. But if you drive around in the farmlands over here, you find there's some farmers and some folks that will have a wagon, and I'm not talking about a little Red Ryder wagon. I'm talking about a big pull behind a truck type wagon, full of fruits, vegetables, what have you, just sitting there, corn, tomatoes, squash, what have you. Sometimes they're out there monitoring it, they're selling it. Sometimes they just leave a box. Say, put money in the box, take what you want, blah blah blah. So we pulled up to one place. Just have a huge trailer full of stuff. And so we're, as my mom and dad, myself, and my girlfriend, Mary at the time, picking up different fruits or different vegetables and putting them in a box that they had there. We're like, okay, we got this. And we go put like a 20 or 40, whatever it was, in the box. They just had a shoe box, literally a shoe box there. And my girlfriend's looking around. She goes, what are you doing? I said, we're putting money in the shoebox. She goes, but there's nobody here. I'm like, yeah. She goes, won't they think that you're trying to cheat them? I'm like, I don't know what they're going to think. I said, why would we cheat them? This is what you do around here. She goes, where I come from in Philadelphia, you put this out here, you're going to have the shoebox gone, you're going to have the trailer gone, and all the vegetables gone. You're not going to have anything left, and no one's going to do anything about it. I said, sorry, different way of life over here. That's how we do it. And she couldn't believe it. She was freaking out. So, like I said, John, if you're still watching, I am sure you ran into that, or you know what I'm talking about with the vegetable carts, if you will. Yeah, Felicia. Don't give me any kind of smiley face or pouty face, whatever. You got to make it up to me. We will talk. Absolutely. I tell you what. Why don't you? Right there. Buy me a drink or coffee, www.andrewpoletto.com/drink. Go buy me a drink right now. Go do it. Make up for me. Buy me a drink or a cup of coffee. All right? So there you go. Anyway, let's see. Donna Marie, I live in Philadelphia, Andrew. We're not all like that. I would hope not. My girlfriend wasn't like that. She just said that something was like that in her area. It would be all gone by then. She lived in, I'm sure you know this, Donna Marie, And the only reason I remember this is because you can see my the sunburn or suntan I got today. I had a bandana on all day. I only remember this because there's a NASCAR race. She's not in this town, but a similar town with the same name. She lived close to a place called Bristol. That's the only thing I remember about Philadelphia. I haven't talked to her 3-4 years. Well, we're still friends on Facebook, kind of, sort of. But her mom was wacky. I mean, her mom was woo out there, big time. And she was a huge Philadelphia Eagles fan. Her mom and her mom says every time the Eagles would lose, it's because the mob has a hit on somebody and they had to lose or somebody was going to get killed. Honest to God, that was her mom's philosophy. Holy moly. And I could care less about football. Didn't really care for it back then. Care even less for it now. Why? Because it's during NASCAR season. Simple as that. NASCAR is the sport. Which we'll talk NASCAR another time. Won't get into it today. But for all you folks watching right now, salute. Here we go. All right. So, Bristol is not Philadelphia County. Bristol is Bucks County. I just remember the name Bristol. I don't know if because she went shopping there, went to church there. I don't know why. But I know she always said Philadelphia, but she mentioned Bristol because when I was a NASCAR fan, I said, we got the Bristol race coming. She goes, Bristol. I didn't know there was a race in Bristol. So that's all I remember about it. I don't exactly know where she lived, but it was funny because this is when Google Earth first started coming out. So we zoomed in on her house, and her house in Philadelphia, because she lived in Florida at this point, but she said her house in Philadelphia was in a subdivision, and you focus down, there was like a gazillion houses in the subdivision. So we we expanded out from her place and came over to mine, and we're getting closer and closer. She goes, where's all the houses? I'm like, there are no houses. We're getting closer and closer. She goes, what is that? And I said, that's my house. She goes, but there's nothing else around there. I said, you're right. It's my house. It's right there. So she couldn't believe that people live in the middle of nowhere like I do. And then when she came here, she couldn't believe all the cornfields. I mean, literally, you drive around and you keep seeing corns and beans and corns. That's all you see around here. And see, Donna Marie, Bucks County is the next county over from Philadelphia County. Okay. Again, don't know if she lived in there, but she talked about Bristol. That's all I could tell you. Other than that, have no clue. Here's a funny story. I just bought a new car when I was down there. This is when I actually was working in the mortgage business before I got laid off. I bought a new car. Her and I were out. We stopped at a Subway because we did something we call our Sunday drives, where we just pick a direction and we would go. We'd usually stop at a Subway if it was around noontime. If not, we were just going to go until we find a restaurant and eat with the local yokels, as I like to call it. So we stopped at a Subway in the town I lived in, Englewood. The car's parked right in front. We can see it. We're ordering our sandwiches. I left the car running. We're right in front. You know, we can see the car. It's literally right there. It's, walk three paces to the door and walk 3 paces to the car. It's right there. She's freaking out. She goes, your car's running. I'm like, yeah, it's hot. I want to stay cool in the car. It's hot. She goes, but it's running. I said, yeah. She goes, isn't somebody going to steal it? I'm like, I doubt it. And so first of all, we're the only ones in here, and there's no other cars around here. She was so freaked out, she had to go back out to the car and turn it off and lock the car and come back in for a grand total of 3 minutes before our sandwich was done and go back out there. So that's the mindset that she had compared to the mindset I have. And John, you can relate to this, and Felicia, I don't know if you can or not. So I don't know where you grew up. But around here, we literally, growing up, if we go to the grocery store, we left our cars running in the middle of the winter in the grocery store. And see, John, I stayed in the old Navy base back in 1997. Oh, my. That place reeked, and so did the people. Old Navy base where, John? I'm assuming Philadelphia, but where? There's only one Navy base in Philadelphia, or are we still talking about Philadelphia? I don't know where we're talking. But yeah, John knows. He grew up in the same town I did. We left our cars running in the middle, we left our cars running in the middle of winter. If we went to the grocery store, absolutely. No one had locks. You kidding me? We didn't know what a lock was. Whiteland, Indiana is where I grew up. Hey, Whiteland. That's, I keep wanting to say that's north. Not really north of Indy. Where's Whiteland? I can't think of where. Isn't Whiteland north west of Indy? I think. Unless I'm thinking of something completely different. I had a friend from high school. She has since passed as well. She moved to Whiteland with her husband at the time. Anyway, my word. Oh, so it's south, the other side of Greenwood. Okay, I don't know why I'm thinking of it's up north. Whiteland, the other side of Greenwood. So it's south of Indianapolis. Okay, all right. So that's where Charlotte's Dance is. Look at this. So all the way we're coming through again. Coming back around. So that's what Charlotte's Dance is in Greenwood. That's like going back to the dancing thing with my friend Ellie. So this is fun. This is cool. I can talk to folks all night long. But I tell you what, right now, you guys have given me a lot of stuff to think about. Andrew here, let's talk, chit chat with Andrew. Do different things here. I'm going to call it a night. Let's see, Ellie. Monon, Indiana. I'll tell you why I'm laughing in a second. Ellie, Monon, Indiana is mostly where I claim as home, but I moved a lot as a kid. Monon. I went to school in Rensselaer. We used to go to Monon on the weekends to watch movies. They had a Monon theater over there. Holy moly, Monon. Wow, that brings back some memories as well. Wow, you have to remind me next time on here. I'll tell you some stories about Monon. Put it this way, I don't know if I'm welcome back to Monon or not. No, I don't. I'm just kidding. But we did some stuff that we shouldn't have in Monon. Wow. What a small world. Monon. Monon is smaller than the place I'm at now. That's for certain. Anyway, all right. I'm going to stop it here. Let's see. They are renovating the theater. I would hope so. It was crumbling down back when I was in college, a long time ago. I've been out of college for a long time. So, all right. I'll end it here, folks. Thank you so much. Felicia, still waiting. There you go. We need to talk this weekend. So let me know when you're available. Send me a message. We'll talk. All right. Night, everybody. Thank you for everything. Roof collapsed. And Monon, the roof collapsed. I'm surprised it didn't collapse 20 years ago. Okay. I'm out of here, folks. This is Andrew, the face who runs the place. Popcorn and whiskey. Thanks for being here. We'll do this again soon. Appreciate everybody being here. And hope I kept you entertained. And until next time. Ciao.